but far more information and distractions to fill that time. There are clear limits to how much and how long humans can pay attention. The combination of increased information and our brain's limits has changed our habits, and not necessarily for the better. Many of us have turned to multitasking as a way to keep up. There's clearly a tendency for people to attempt multiple, simultaneous, as much as they can, activities, said Dr. Adam Gazzaley, Director of Neuroscience at the University of California, San Francisco. But research shows that our propensity for multitasking and distractions is a bad thing. According to UC Irvine Professor of Informatics, Dr. Gloria Mark, once you are captured by a distraction, it can take up to 23 minutes to get back on track. And since the average person succumbs to distractions an average of every 3 minutes, it can be difficult to escape. It's even worse if you are a multitasker. You might think a chronic multitasker would be more adept at switching between tasks, but you'd be wrong. A recent study by Stanford professor Eyal Ophir found that heavy media multitaskers, those who consumed a large amount of media content, were not only more susceptible to irrelevant stimuli, but they were also significantly slower when it came to switching between tasks. Another study from the University of Utah found that people who identify as strong multitaskers were in fact the least capable multitaskers of the 310 subjects they tested. Heavy multitaskers are far less capable of inhibiting distractions than those who identify as light multitaskers. So, not only is attention more scarce, but our habits are also making us less efficient at focusing our attention. This isn't good news if you're a startup trying to capture the undivided attention of a user, or a local official trying to rally support for a new library or a much-needed renovation of your city's infrastructure. If you want to capture attention for your ideas, your work, or your product, you will not only have to compete against countless people and companies who are vying for the same attention you are, but you'll also need to fight against the very unproductive habits that we have all developed to manage our attention in the midst of this overwhelming stimuli. Attention is scarce and fleeting. You better figure out how it works, what people naturally pay attention to, and why. And yet, despite the fact that all around us is a fierce competition for attention, there are people who still don't believe they need to put in the effort to break through the noise to get their ideas noticed. Over the past few years, I've heard way too many people misuse the famous quote from the 1989 film Field of Dreams, declaring, "If you build it, he will come." This misappropriated quote suggests that if you simply put your head down and develop a great idea or build a fantastic product, people will eventually recognize it and come to you. It also implies that reaching out to people with your idea or product is not only unnecessary, but also beneath you. It is the most annoying misuse of a quote ever. I despise when people use this quote this way, not only because it's wrong, but also because it leads people to believe that attention isn't something you should actively court. This "build it, they will come" mindset is behind the reason some of history's greatest minds went unrecognized for decades, or worse yet, their work still has never seen the light of day. Vincent van Gogh, one of the greatest painters of all time, sold just one work of art while he was alive. Alfred Wegener, the man who discovered that continents drift ever so slowly on the surface of the earth, was ridiculed and ignored until 2 decades after his death. Fortunately, these masters were eventually discovered. But we can only imagine the Van Goghs and Wegeners that have slipped through the cracks because they couldn't capture the attention of others. Then and now, attention has always mattered. Nowadays, if you're a teacher, you have to find novel ways to keep your easily distracted students engaged in your lessons. If you're a marketer, you have to find ways to promote your brands. If you run a charity, you need your cause to be in the forefront of a donation.